All right, 99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You guys already know what time it is. And right here, right now, we are joined by London, Ontario. That's right. We have Will of the phenomenal band Hit Vacation. Will, how are you doing tonight?
Good, man. Good. How are you?
I got to say, first and foremost, Will, thank you so much for a bit of your time, man. I absolutely love what you're doing over there in London, Ontario with Hit Vacation. You guys are absolutely on the come up, man. You guys make killer music, man. So thank you so much for just a bit of your time here tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. Appreciate all the kind words.
But I know you're a busy guy, so of course I'm not going to take you away from your Wednesday night too long. But I got to take you back to the beginning of this legendary band and just ask, like, what is the story behind Hitvacation? Like, how did you guys actually meet and come together to actually form this band?
So me and the drummer Mac, we started the band together in probably like January, I think, of 2022. We were both into like retro video game collecting, and we kind of met through that scene. And then one day just started talking about music and how I used to play in bands and he used to play in bands and he wanted to start something new. So we just got together. I recorded a couple demos, sent them over to him, and really liked his drums for it. And then slowly over time, Jeff came in. He was at first our bass player, and then went to lead guitars after that. And then Drew, our bass player now, joined probably almost about a year ago now.
And I gotta say, man, it sounds like like you guys have the perfect band because I know a lot of people. I don't know how it works with a lot of bands, but I've heard stories that if you always find like three out of four great members, and then one member is kind of like just a rotation of like I always hear about bass players and drummers that like a lot of bands have issues keeping that fourth member, man. But you guys have that chemistry as a band, and you can really hear it with your guys' music that you guys produce.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I feel like bass player is always the one. It's kind of the position that nobody wants. Everyone wants to be guitar and drums because they're way more fun to play. But Drew's been holding it down on the bass for a while now, and he's doing a killer job.
But also as well, October 14th, 2022, you guys actually released an amazing six-track EP titled Exhausted. I was wondering, what is the story and inspiration behind this amazing record?
Um, so yeah, it was kind of like a COVID project sort of thing. Like we started writing, like kind of like during when stuff was getting shut down, we had nothing else to do. And Mac had a friend, well, has a friend who runs a studio here in London. So we wrote those 6 songs kind of during like lockdowns and stuff. And then when things finally started opening up, we were able to go to his studio and record them. The leads on that album were our old lead guitarist. His name was Zach. He was in the band for maybe about half a year or so. He came in and recorded the guitars, but then his life kind of got too busy, so he couldn't stick around in the band too much after that. So then that's when Jeff, who was on bass at the time, kind of filled in for guitar. He's mainly a guitar player anyways, and he freaking rips. So it worked out, I think, in the end.
And I gotta say, definitely a phenomenal EP. I gotta say, it's an unskippable, man. You can listen to track 1 through 6, or 6 right through 1, man. A phenomenal album. But I have to ask, is it actually still out there to be streamed or purchased, man? Because I will say this album definitely deserves a vinyl release.
I mean, that'd be awesome. If any, like, we've sent stuff out to like a couple distribution labels to see if they would like do anything for us, like print like even like a cassette or a vinyl would be badass. But I haven't had any bites yet. Maybe one day. But it's on Spotify if anyone wants to listen to it. It's also on Apple Music.
And especially as well when it actually comes to like, I think this is 2022, obviously, when you guys put this out. So around this time, man, I'm pretty sure you know this, but vinyl companies were absolutely so backed up. People were waiting. I think there were some bands I talked to, they actually had a 5-year wait to get their vinyls. It made no sense, man, because by the time you get the vinyls, you'd already be promoting like your next album or even 2 albums within 5 years, man. So it really made no sense to actually wait that long.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if someone ever, like, if something did work out later down the line, like, yeah, I'd totally love to do a physical release of it. we're releasing, like, in the middle of trying to release a new record right now. So I feel like if anything, we'd probably be more interested in releasing that one onto vinyl. We only play like maybe one or two songs from that old EP still, um, but it's fun. I like it. I just think our sounds starting to shift a little bit from that original EP, because once Jeff joined the band, he really put a lot of input into like the songwriting, and I think it's making us just sound more technical as a band for sure.
And before we move on the topic of Exhausted, I also read as well that this was actually recorded and mixed by J.J. Swarson, sorry. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about the recording session with him, and of course, what was it like just working alongside an industry vet in the studio for this particular project?
It's great. JJ's an awesome dude. He runs a studio in London. I think it used to be like Baptized in Blood's old like recording or practice space, I think. But he's a super talented dude. He's an amazing drummer. Yeah, probably one of the easiest recording sessions we've ever done. It all just moved really smoothly with him. Would highly recommend him to any other bands.
And I do know you said you're actually you're currently in the process of creating new music. Is JJ actually going to be doing the work on this project as well, or are you guys going to try a kind of a new sound with a new producer?
So he's in the middle of renovating his studio right now. So our bass player Drew, he went to school for recording too, and he has all the gear. So we actually recorded it here in my house.
That's pretty cool, man. You can't go wrong with that, man. It saves a lot of money. You know, renting a studio. It's crazy how 2024 you can actually just do it in your own house and actually have an industry sounding record. People wouldn't even know the difference until, you know, artists like yourselves tell people like me, right? I mean, so it's actually really cool because like 20 years ago, man, you couldn't do that in your house. You would have to like physically go to a studio and hopefully have enough money to actually get enough recording sessions to get the album actually banged out.
Yeah, no, we're super lucky that way. Technology's come a very far way. You can get some pretty professional sounding stuff with just a laptop nowadays.
I remember the old GarageBand days. That was like just the start of it. I mean, mind you, GarageBand didn't give you the best quality sound, but if you wanted to get something gritty out there real quick, GarageBand was the go-to. Now it's like you got like Adobe Audition. You got so many you just got so many avenues to work with, and it just works perfect.
Yeah, it's definitely. We still use like well, actually, I do all my demos in Logic, but I do like my own like kind of demo recordings whenever we like write new songs nowadays. But even that's like so different from when I started playing in bands and like writing songs and stuff. It's like it's so much more efficient to just like record a song and send it to everybody rather than waiting for like band practice for everyone to get together and then hear it for the first time. It's like my drummer or Jeff, the guitarist, can just like write their own parts and bring it to practice. It's makes it a lot more efficient for sure.
And also as well, September 27th of 2024, so just last month, you actually released your most recent single titled Senzu. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about your most recent single, and of course, where can we actually check it out today if we haven't already done so?
For sure, yeah. So that was the first song that I wrote after the Exhausted EP. And it did come out on like the double single that we did after Exhausted. I just kind of kept it in like the chamber, I guess, for like a bigger body of work. But yeah, it was one of the first songs that I wrote after that EP. Jeff did the video for it that it just came out. It's just kind of just like a homemade sort of music video, just some sort of visualizer to kind of accompany the song. It's out on Spotify and Apple Music, I believe. I think, and yeah, it's on the music videos on YouTube. But yeah, it's kind of more like we're trying to go for like that Midwest emo-y kind of math rock sound. This one has a bit more of like almost like a pop punk kind of vibe thrown in there as well. But yeah.
You could definitely hear the pop punk vibe, man. But I will admit, pop punk is honestly a genre to me. everyone always told me when I was a kid that it was a phase and you'll get out of it. I still listen to pop punk like 30 years later, man. It's insane. But one thing I've noticed that I love about it is it's starting to make a comeback, which is really cool. And
Yep.
I got to say that a lot of this stuff actually sounds like what it was in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. It's like we're getting it back, but it's staying the same kind of vibe and sound, man. I love it. Makes me feel youthful again. And then I realize I still got that lower back pain, so then it just doesn't work out properly.
Yeah, exactly. I grew up listening to a lot of like drive-through records stuff. So like early November was like a big influence for me, and bands like the Starting Line and Newfound Glory and stuff like that.
Like I grew one of my favorite bands growing up, obviously, is Blink, but another one was the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. Man, they just dropped a new song actually like last night, and I listened to it, and I was like, dude, what year is it? Is it like 2007 again? What the hell?
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. I haven't heard of that band name in a long time. I
And
should check it
also
out.
as well, because I do know this Saturday, so literally just in a few days, October 19th, you guys actually will be taking the stage at London Super Bowl. I was wondering, what can your fans actually expect from this up and coming show and performance? And of course, where can we actually snag ourselves some last minute tickets?
So that was actually last week when that show was. It was at the Palisade Social Bowl. It's when they like it's a new kind of events that they've been having at the Palisade there. It's a really, really cool spot. The stage sounds awesome. It's probably like one of the best sounds for a stage that you can find in the city besides playing like music hall or run runners or something like that. But it's been really, really good for the community here because there's a lot of bands in this city that want places to play. So the more venues, the better for sure.
And I have to ask, do you actually have any more up and coming shows, or is right now you guys just focusing on the new music?
We had another one that same weekend as the Palisade one in Sarnia. It's like our first time ever playing there. It was pretty cool too, at a small little club called AJ's Bar. Besides that, we've got no other shows planned right now. Hopefully we'll get some soon as the album drops, and we're going to put out one more single and then hopefully drop the rest of the album with that. So yeah, hopefully something gets booked after that.
And speaking of the album, because I do know obviously you can't let too many cats out of the bag. It is something that hasn't been released yet. You got to keep some surprises for your fans. But I have to ask, as a Hit Vacation fan, what is the estimated release date of this particular album, man?
Yeah, so because we're mixing and mastering and producing it ourselves, I don't want to commit to a date because there's been a lot of taking our time with this one. But we're aiming to try and get it out around Halloween. So hopefully the end of this month, early next month, maybe.
So I have to ask, aside from the album that you're currently working on and the single that's about to drop soon, what is next for yourself and the rest of Hit Vacation, man? Is there anything we happen to miss during this evening's interview? Anything else you still want to touch on, talk about, or promote?
Um, we just recorded a new video for a single last night. That's why the rest of the guys can make it, because we were out making that video till like maybe 3 a.m. last night. So I booked off work today and was able to get a good sleep, but the rest of the guys had to go to work, so they were pretty spent after that. But hopefully, this video will be done soon. We're pretty hyped on it. It has like a cool concept for it, a cool like storyboard to it and stuff. It's the same. We did a video for a song called "Live Without" last summer. It's the same video director doing the same video, or doing another video for us. Hopefully that turns out well and comes out soon. After that, we're just gonna try and play as many shows as we can. If we can make any physical releases, we're gonna definitely try and do that. We already have like 6 new songs written for whatever body of work comes next, whether that be like a couple singles, album. But yeah, just we're gonna keep plugging away at it, try and get some more shows, try and get more reach.
But Will, before we actually part ways here this evening, obviously I know how to follow you on social media because that's how we got connected and made this interview possible. But for individuals here on Eastern Ontario that might just be discovering Hit Vacation here tonight, how do we go about following you across all social media platforms?
Yeah, so it's just at Hit Vacation for everything. Instagram is where we're like the most. It's the one that we frequently use the most. We're on Facebook as well, if anyone still likes to use that. And then yeah, on Spotify, Apple Music, just hit Vacation. Usually can pull it up pretty easily.
I got to say, Will, first and foremost, thank you so much for giving not only myself, but the 99.9 FM airways a bit of your time, man. It was such an honor speaking with London, Ontario's finest. Hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon. But for now, definitely have yourself a phenomenal rest of your Wednesday night.
Awesome. Thanks, dude. Thanks. Appreciate you asking me to come on here. A lot of fun.
Hey, man, you're most certainly welcome, man. Thank you so much again. We'll definitely talk again soon.
Sounds good.